This is the birthplace and boyhood home of a very privileged person. This is Hartford. And this is what would be considered now not very affluent place, but privilege doesn't go with affluence. It goes with values and culture. And I am that privileged person who is not wealthy, was never given a big trust fund. How do I say privileged? Because here, 56 years ago, Mom and Dad were intact, bringing home baby Mark. And for all their lives, stayed together. And the importance of two parents raising kids, my sister and I, throughout, all the way up through college, they stay together. That kind of influence is lost among so many Americans, and especially in urban areas. The two-parent household that stays together for more than a decade is a rarity. And what comes with it is a loss of stability for the kids, an inability, even when it's a divorced pair, and solid dad living away from solid mom, but just the transactional, got to drop the kid off at some point, got to pick them up, am I late? All the fretfulness is something that is very hard on parents, and it makes it somewhat, maybe a lot, harder on kids. How can government help? Well, no government can force people to stay together, but incentives that over the last 50 years have been kind of perverse impel many couples to part. When your local government is giving a voucher for housing, and it's a higher amount if you're unmarried, who needs the dad? Dad can go somewhere else. Mom has more money coming in. At the federal level, when taxes are so high that parents both need to work to keep a decent standard of living, it's not as good as when one parent can afford to stay home. A high tax code does that. Ladies and gentlemen, you go back to the tax code of 100 years ago, you had everyone, almost, able to stay home and raise kids if they wanted to. Ladies and gentlemen, if you go back 100 years ago, or even 60 years ago, the breadwinner alone can support most households. It allowed a second parent to stay home with the kids. We can rarely do that now. High taxes are more than a financial burden. They hurt family togetherness. The moral value of lower taxes is that it helps parents raise better kids. Privilege is thus hurt by tax policy, by housing policy, and by other restrictive things that keep people from flourishing in their occupation, and I include the occupation of being a full-time parent. I'm Mark Stewart Greenstein, thankful, grateful that I had two full-time parents throughout my growing years, and hoping that we can use government policy at times to impel more.